Okay, so it's time for my midweek reading vlog for the second half of the first week of May. For those of you who are trying to wonder what I'm saying here, when I when May began, I viewed the first 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to be the first half of week 1. So now we're into the second half. The first week goes for 10 days. Now that you're all caught up, let's talk about what I've been reading, because you guys, this month is a special month for me. It is my birthday month, as most of you know, but it has been an amazing start to the month. I don't remember any other month starting off this well, and I'm so happy to be talking to you guys about what I've read so far and what I'm currently reading. So the first book that I read in the first week of May was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This was such an amazing reread. I have not read this book for at least 5 years, if not more, so at least. And going down memory lane and having those nostalgic moments with Harry and his first moments where he finds out you're a wizard, Harry, and all that kind of stuff was just amazing. As a more well-read reader, I can always consider myself to be well-read, but I'm even more well-read now since I began on BookTube. As an even more well-read reader now, I've realized so many things that are in this book that did not appear in the film adaptation. For those of you who don't know, any book that I read this month that comes with a film adaptation, I am going to watch the film after I read the book. So I read this book and then I watched the film and made comparisons, and I did a 2-part special, so you can find that in the Harry Potter section, because I'm creating a Harry Potter section in the Harry Potter section of my my videos playlist. That's the one, playlist. So you can check that out over there. But all in all, this was an amazing read. The nostalgia value was just incredibly high because of just how much I love this series and how nice it was to be back in this world. And I had such a great time reading this book. I did end up giving it 5 stars. It was just so much fun. But I spoke about this in my last one, so now in my last reading vlog. So now I'm going to talk about the second book that I read in May. This one, The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. I went into reading this book feeling really happy that I practically lived under a rock while the first 3 books, there's a new one coming out soon, but while the first 3 books were released and while the films were released, I knew nothing going into this book. All I knew was the title, The Hunger Games. That's all I knew. And that made me extremely happy because I had no idea what to expect going in. Oh my god. Book 2 that received 5 stars in a row because this book was so amazing, and I am definitely going to be adding the second book, which I think is called Catching Fire, but correct me if I'm wrong. The second book in the Hunger Games series I will be reading in June because I loved the first one so much. Yeah. Won't really say too much about it. I'll leave that for when I do a review of this book, but the protagonist is very headstrong, and you guys know how much I love my headstrong female protagonists or female characters, and she definitely is. The lead up to the Hunger Games I enjoyed. It gave me some Selection vibes, which was pretty cool. It's a dystopian. I love my dystopian worlds. I love exploring them. There is a caste system there were 13 districts. There are currently 12. Of 12 districts, all on a range of different classes, which was wonderful, really intriguing to wrap my head around. And then after selections have been made and we're pretty much ready to enter, then we enter into the Hunger Games, which is, I think, the second half of the book. And it was such high action and high risk from the moment that the protagonist enters into the Hunger Games. because of reasons that I won't go into here, but I'll go into in my review. I'm sure a lot of you have already read this book, but for those of you who haven't, I'm going to be mindful and not give any spoilers away. But such high action, such high risk once we step into the arena for the Hunger Games, and I enjoyed each and every single moment of this book. The conclusion to the Hunger Games, because the actual games themselves do conclude by the end of this book, was an interesting twist. I didn't expect it to go the way that it did, and so I don't know how I feel about it. I'm still thinking, I'm still processing how I feel about the way that the Hunger Games came to an end, not the book, but the actual games came to an end. I like part of it, and then I don't like part of it, so I don't know. I'm just kind of weighing it up at the moment to see how I feel. But the one thing that I will nitpick about this book, and I'll talk more about that in the review as well, but I just want to quickly say it here, is the way this book ends, I did not appreciate it. And I want to give you an analogy so that I don't spoil the book for you, for those who haven't read the book, like me, yay. Imagine if you are reading a book about a character that is running towards a door at the end of an incredibly long passageway. We have no idea what's behind the door, and we spend chapters upon chapters of this character running towards the door and thinking of all the possible things that's going to be behind there. Will there be good characters? Will there be evil characters? Will it be really tough to deal with? Will it be amazing? We don't know. Oh my God. And then you get about 10 steps away from getting to the door and suddenly the book stops. That's what happened with this book. I feel like it didn't round off nicely. It just kind of stopped suddenly. I have the feeling, and I could be wrong, but I had the feeling that Susan Collins woke up one day and thought, you know what, I need to do more than one book, so I'm just going to leave it with where it's at right now, and then I'll just pick up with where I've left them in the second book. Where for me, even if you have a series, or even if you've mapped out a duology, trilogy, quadrilogy, or any number of books in a series, each standalone book in that series should come to a conclusion. And this book hasn't come to a conclusion. It's stopped dead in the middle of something that's going on, and I did not appreciate that. And that's just me. Maybe you guys like that kind of thing, and maybe when you first read this book, if you have, your next thought was, yay, now I just want to read the next one. And that's good, and I can understand why some authors will leave books on cliffhangers, but this didn't feel like a cliffhanger. It just felt more like, as I said with my own analogy that I've made up for you guys, the characters running towards the door, they get 10 steps away and suddenly the book just stops. Like, I know that I'm 10 steps away now. The end. Okay, well, that's good, but then what? You know? And it just left me wanting to read the second book, absolutely, but it left me a little disappointed with the fact that it couldn't have just been wrapped up. I don't necessarily need my books to wrap up neatly, but at least come to some sort of a conclusion. Even if Susan Collins had finished the book maybe 3 or 4 pages before the end. So there's a train involved towards the end. Okay. And our characters are on a train and they're heading somewhere. And when we get towards the end, the characters are about to get off the train and go wherever it is they're going. I wish that we'd ended it before the characters got on the train, which was about 4 pages before, because then it would have wrapped up really nicely. Okay, we're at this point and I'm about to get on the train and who knows what's going to happen from there. That would be fine. But the fact that we're already on the train, we've pretty much gotten to where we need to go, and we're literally stepping out of the train. Like, at least that's how it feels to me. We're literally stepping out of the train and into blackness. Like, no, it just left me antsy. But honestly, this book was an amazing read. I gave it 5 stars, and you guys know if I don't like a book, I'm going to give it 1 star. but this book deserved all of the 5 stars that it did receive, despite its ending. Despite and in spite of its ending, and despite and in spite of my unknown feelings about the actual ending of the actual Hunger Games. It was just amazing. I feel that Susan Collins takes her time in the first half of the book, and we get to know a little bit more about our protagonist and the culture of her living in the district she lives in, as far as the caste system for all of the districts that are out there. We get to learn more about her culture. We then get to learn a lot more about her and, other things along the way. But then once we get in that arena, action-packed, it is fast-paced. The rest of the book is very fast-paced once she's in the arena, but the stakes are so high, so incredibly high in the arena, that you can't help but feel excited and run alongside the protagonist as she's doing whatever it is she's doing. Such an enjoyable read, and I'm glad that I didn't read this book at all until now, because I needed to be in the right headspace to read this book, and being that I was, it paid off for me, and it was an amazing journey. So thank you, Susan Collins, and 5 stars for this one. So what a great start for me with the first week of May. 2 5-star books. Incredible. So I now move on to the end of week 1 with this book. The Elite by Kiera Cass. This is the second book in the selection series, so if you saw my monthly wrap-up for March, you saw that I read the first book, The Selection, and I absolutely loved it. It got 5 stars. So I was talking to my mum and my sister about Easter and what we were going to do, especially with the lockdown, and they both decided to buy me the next 2 books in that series. So my mum bought me The Elite, and my sister bought me the third one, The One, which I'll get to in June. So I have just started The Elite, and then I remembered that I had to do my midweek vlog, so I almost forgot to do it today, which is hilarious, but it just shows how zoned in to all of the books that I am at the moment. They've just been really exciting, and this one's no different. I think I'm about like 10 pages in, if not less, so really just at the start of it, but yeah, it's good to be back in this world, and I'll let you know how I go. So that's it. For the rest of the week, I'm going to be reading The Elite, so that will cover me for today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I'll come back with my weekly wrap-up and talk about what I'm going to read in week 2, which there are some really exciting books in week 2, and week 2 is my birthday week, so I've got some other exciting videos that I'm planning on doing there as well. Now, I am considering what to do reviews-wise. Considering I've barely started this book, so I certainly haven't read it, and that I have read this book, I don't know if I'm going to be reviewing both of them, but if you're watching this right now and you have a preference on which book you would like to see me do a review on, please do let me know. I just don't know if I'm going to have enough time to do both of them. So option 1 is The Hunger Games by Susan Collins, and option 2 is The Elite by Kiera Cass. Please vote in the comments section below for which one you'd like for me to do, and we will go from there. If there is a majority vote, I'll go with that book. If there's not a majority vote, if it's rather even, then I will just select one myself and talk about that one. So yeah, I'll leave it in your capable hands. So this is what I have been reading this week. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, 5 stars. The nostalgia, it was absolutely amazing. It was great to go back there, and a wonderful book. The Hunger Games, this is the first time I've read this book, 5 stars. It was an amazing read as well. Great month. And I've just started The Elite, and it's great to be back in that world, and I'll read this for the rest of the week. So what have you been reading in May? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm letting you guys go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Mwah. And until next time, I post videos every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday, with Mondays being my review day, Thursday being my midweek vlog, and Sunday being my end of week vlog. So I will see you again soon, and happy reading. Bye guys. Bye.